In this video, I'm gonna break down the ultimate email and SMS marketing blueprint for telehealth brands. In the past 2 years, we've become the go-to CRM partner for telehealth businesses and help brands like IVRX grow to multiple 8 figures in revenue using this 5-pillar patient conversion blueprint that's specifically designed for the unique telehealth customer journey and is also compliant with all the healthcare and HIPAA regulations, while still consistently driving 35 to 50% of total revenue through email and SMS. Now, let's dive straight into the training, starting with the key differences when it comes to email marketing for telehealth versus traditional e-commerce. Now, email marketing for traditional D2C e-commerce versus telehealth. So most telehealth brands fail their retention marketing because they're basically just trying to copy-paste the strategies from a regular Shopify-based D2C brand and implement it into their own telehealth context. But, that just doesn't work. Traditional D2C email and SMS strategies fail in telehealth because the essence of the business is just hugely different. And let me show you this table where I'm kind of like covering the main differences and why those need to be taken into account. So first of all, buying cycle is something that, in traditional D2C e-commerce, it's much shorter, usually. It's often impulse driven, low ticket items, fast decisions. Whereas when you go to the telehealth space, usually the buying cycle is much longer. It's trust based, even more so than in normal e-commerce. The products are high ticket subscription products. The patients and clients need, reassurance and information before they commit to their treatment. Then the primary goal of email and SMS for traditional D2C, it's usually direct clicks, direct sales. And of course, that's like the eventual goal with telehealth as well. But, how to get there is a little bit different. You need to build even more trust. You need to educate even more. You need to guide your patients toward the consultation and subscription, step by step. Email design. In traditional e-commerce, usually it's more visual, it's product heavy, it's brand first, it's flashy graphics, stuff like that. Whereas in the telehealth space, it's usually a little bit simpler, plainer, plain text or lightly designed. The goal is just to keep it super professional, trustworthy, and the communication should almost feel like it's coming from a healthcare professional instead of like a regular flashy brand or whatever. The CTA style, so call to actions, normal e-commerce. Because it's a little bit simpler, the funnel is simpler, it's more direct, sell-focused. The CTAs are usually also really direct, like shop now, get 20% off, limited time offer, etc., etc. Whereas in the telehealth space, it's more like get started, get your personalized plan, reply with questions, book your consultation. So, you're not pushing them straight to shop now in most cases, but you're instead pushing them to the next step in the funnel, which then leads to the purchase. Then customer expectations, normal e-commerce, people expect discounts, promotions, entertaining copy, urgency, all this kind of basic marketing stuff. In telehealth, a little bit that as well, but even more so, there's like clarity, trust, transparency, compliance, and people just, want expert guidance, more so than they want like hard selling as in normal e-commerce. Then when it comes to regulatory considerations, of course it depends on the industry or like in the niche, but let's say an average D2C Shopify brand, it's mostly just standard marketing compliance. Whereas in the telehealth, you must adhere to the healthcare privacy laws, HIPAA regulations, sensitive language needs to be avoided or, something that you sometimes have to communicate there, but you need to be careful about it. You need to have disclaimers, and basically any claims must be substantiated. Like you cannot just, promise something and, refer to medical data that is not real. Conversion path is the final one. I kind of like already touched on this a little bit, but this is probably like the most biggest difference in telehealth compared to like a traditional D2C brand. Normal e-commerce, it's pretty much like from email, they land to the Shopify site, they go to the checkout, they purchase. In telehealth, there's many more steps in the funnel. So it's more friction, longer funnel with more touch points. So basically I can show you, or like here's like an example of what the funnel looks like in telehealth. Maybe you have the same email, but it's pushing the website. And then instead of pushing straight to the checkout, customer is forced to go through the health questionnaire where they respond to their questions and, see if they're eligible for the treatment. After that, they're ending up to this consultation. After the consultation, they basically get prescribed the medication if they do, and then after that they can purchase and subscribe to the treatment. So yeah, longer funnel with more touch points, more friction. And considering all the differences I just went through, it's not hard to understand why why the strategy needs to be so different. With that being said, let me show you what a telehealth optimized strategy actually looks like. Pillar number 1. list growth. The growth of your email and SMS list of your telehealth brands comes from two main sources. The first source is the health questionnaire on your site, and I have an example here from Eden. Eden is one of the biggest telehealth brands, so I'm going to show you an example from their site. So this is pretty much like the main way that they collect email list. And this is also a necessary part of the funnel in the telehealth context. So basically, let me show you. You open this link again. So you land on the homepage of Eden. And then let's say you're looking for personalized GLP-1 treatments. You need to press get started. And what happens when you press get started? You end up in this health questionnaire intake. And you need to go through this intake form, explain your weight loss goal, explain your other goals and challenges and everything. If you have any previous experience with these medications, if you have some overlapping medication, if you have allergies, whatever kind of stuff that they need to know about you. And then at the end of this, they also collect your email address. So this is like the necessary part of the funnel before they can even get the consultation and the prescription and buy the product. But during this process, they also collect your email address. That's like the primary way of getting people into your email list as a telehealth company. So that's number one. And then number two way to grow your email and SMS list is through the email and SMS pop-ups on your site. So here's an example from Effecti. You've got $50 off. Claim your discount, share your number one health goal. Weight loss, longevity, menopause relief. Then, asking the email address after that to claim the discount. So this is like the pop-up structure here as an example. So some kind of incentive, collecting zero-party data, and then asking the email address and SMS after that. And many telehealth brands only focus on the first one, so only have the health questionnaire, but don't even have the email and SMS pop-ups on the site at all. And this means that they're missing out on a lot. Why is that? Because first of all, the telehealth, intake form takes minutes to fully complete. Minutes doesn't sound like a super long time, but in e-commerce, it's actually a lot of friction. So what this also means is that basically the intake form is only catching the highest intent traffic, but the sign up form itself, if you have that as well, it's then catching anyone who is even slightly interested. Then it's collecting third-party data from them, like what is their main goal. And then after that, it's basically pushing these profiles down to your personalized email funnel to build trust, educate, and then eventually convert as well. And here's a link to our case study where I'm proving my point. I'm not going to go through it in this video, but you have access to the document, so you can go through the case study and the whole video explaining this on your own time. But this is basically going through how we more than 6x the list growth and almost doubled the conversion rates at the same time for one of our biggest telehealth clients following this extract process here. Now, how to build high converting sign-up forms. First of all, most pop-ups today are still doing nothing more than just stating the sign up to our newsletter for 10% off or whatever placeholder, generic offer. And customers have seen this 1,000 times. Their thumb is pretty much just going straight to the X button before even reading. It's like an automated reaction almost. And how do we flip the script here? We collect third-party data, and then we utilize something called micro-commitment. And these are basically one and the same step in our context here. So here's what we found across dozens of brands we work with. The highest converting signups and pop-up forms use a micro-commitment and data collection as the first step. And using this strategy has allowed our brands to increase their sign-up rate by anywhere from 2x up to even 15x or 20x in the best cases. So some crazy numbers. And how does this work? I'm just going to show you an example from Freya, one of our clients. So basically, you can look at the pop-up form here. The first window of the pop-up, it has two choices basically. What's your top health goal right now? And then you have two buttons. You can choose lose weight or boost vitality. So basically, instead of immediately asking for the email address or phone number, you ask them this low friction question first. And of course, at this stage, you might think, doesn't adding an extra step add more friction and lower opt-in rate? You were just talking about minimizing the friction. Well, in this case, that's simply not what the data shows. And why is that? Basically because of this psychological principle called commitment bias, which states that once someone starts something, they're much more likely to finish it. And, in this case, clicking the button is easier than typing your email address straight away. That first click they give here builds momentum, and it also makes them commit to the process of filling this form. So after they click and give their low friction answer, we're then moving into the second window, which is the window where we actually ask the email address. And in here, we ask the email address, then they can press sign me up. And after that, we are still asking the SMS, and then, it's finalized after that. And, now because they've already taken the first step at this stage, they've already given, their answer to the first question, they're more committed and pretty much 10 to 15x more likely to give their email, according to the data we have across multiple clients. So here's an example data point. This client of ours actually hit a staggering 42% sign-up rate when the industry average is just 2 to 4%. So this is pretty much like 10 to 20 times higher than the industry average, utilizing this exact structure that I just showed you here above. Here you can see the data from Klaviyo for this client in this context. So the good news don't end here, because when we do this, it's not only good for the sign-up rate, but it also allows us to collect and leverage zero-party data. So basically, you're not only growing your list faster, but you're also collecting zero-party data on every subscriber, and you're getting to know them better. So you're getting to know what they care about, what are the problems they want solved, what are the products or results they're looking for, and then you can pretty much like segment those audiences accordingly. So in this case, for example, lose weight or boost vitality, and then we can look at the data we collect, like health goal is weight loss, there's this many people, anti-aging, there's this many people, and then based on this data, we can pretty much personalize anything or everything. So we can first of all personalize the welcome flow. So when they start getting the welcome emails, we have different paths here. Here's an example from one of our clients. So there's a health goal split in the email service provider in the welcome flow. People who are, their health goal is weight loss, they're getting a different kind of sequence of emails. When their health goal is anti-aging, they're getting a different sequence. And then when their health goal is sexual health, they're getting another different sequence. So that's one thing you can personalize. Of course, you can personalize the product recommendations as well. Give them weight loss specific products, for example, GLP-1s instead of NAD, if they are interested in NAD plus or anti-aging instead. And then, you can personalize the whole email marketing journey after that. Cart flows, campaigns, newsletters, all this kind of stuff. And then on top of what we can do as, people who are, helping them with their email marketing, we can also push this data to their paid advertising, CRO teams, and then they can even optimize the front-end marketing based on the data that we're giving them. And of course, at this point, there's some people who might think, we don't just want more people on our list. We actually care more about those who buy from us. Obviously, just getting more people to your list, of course, it doesn't matter unless those people actually buy something from you. So I fully get that. But at the same time, this approach I've explained here also increases the conversion rates of the people who sign up, not just the number of people who join the email list, because of this exact personalization data collection that I just explained above. So you can clearly see this also from the case study that I gave here, that you can go through on your own time. So that's the telehealth list growth strategy that has taken us the past 2 years to master. You can implement the tactics I shared yourself, or if you're a telehealth brand doing above 50k a month, we can handle this plus all the other strategies in this video for you. Just click the first link in the description to apply for your free retention marketing audit. Let's move on to the next pillar, which is pillar number 2, email flows. And the fundamental idea behind email flows in telehealth isn't that different from those in traditional D2C e-commerce. What makes the strategy different here is the unique customer journey and the unique nature of the product. And here we already, went through this briefly in the first window, but basically traditional D2C e-commerce funnel looks something like this. It's super simple. If you send an email, they're going to your website from the email, then they're checking out, and then they're purchasing. Whereas for telehealth, it's a little bit longer and more complicated. First of all, you send the same email, they land on the website again, but then they need to go through the health questionnaire, they need to go through the consultation, they need to get prescribed the medication, and then they actually get to buy and subscribe to the treatment at that point. Because of these differences here, the communication style also needs to be different. So traditional e-commerce, it's more direct response, more transactional, whereas for telehealth, it's more personalized, more supportive, more educational. And the high-performing email automation setup takes into account these telehealth specific aspects and customizes the strategy with those in mind. And now I'm going to go into the 6 essential email flows for telehealth brands, after which I'm going to go a little bit deeper even into these, not the most essential, but useful ones as well. So first of all, the 6 essential email flows. These 6 flows alone are bringing our partner brands hundreds of thousands of dollars in revenue every single month in an automated way. So we set them up, people are triggering these flows automatically, and they're landing into the sequences, and then these are just generating more leads, more health intake fillers, and more customers for them. And flow number 1 is of course welcome flow. This starts immediately after the sign up from your pop-up or from the health questionnaire sometimes. Well, this is basically like for the people who sign from the pop-up. So we introduce the brand and expertise clearly in this flow. If we have some kind of incentive in the pop-up, we're also giving it here away in this welcome email. We're focusing on providing education first, not hard selling. Like already explained, telehealth is a little bit different here. And then we include the CTA to get started, complete a questionnaire, or get your personalized plan. So this is like the top of funnel welcome flow. And here's an example from Freya of their welcome email. Just like a simple welcome to Freya. Join our next live Zoom call. They have these nutritionist calls. And then after that, we have a copy explaining, okay, what is the call? What is it about? book your call, and then after that we start to go into some social proof, explain what Freya is about, what are the treatments that they're offering, and so on. So that's flow number 1 of the 6 key flows. Flow number 2 is cart/questionnaire abandonment. So this is a little bit different from traditional e-commerce because this triggers when a user actually starts the health questionnaire I showed you before in this video, but doesn't complete it. So basically somebody starts the health questionnaire, they give their email, or we have their email already, and then we notice that they have started the questionnaire but didn't finalize it, so didn't end up to the checkout stage. At this point, we send them the questionnaire abandonment flow, where we basically remind them of you started your questionnaire but didn't finish it. It's kind of like the same context as if you are a Shopify brand and somebody adds to cart and then you send a cart abandonment email flow. This is the same kind of flow, but just instead of pushing to cart, you're pushing them back to the questionnaire so they can finish that. So you're sending these reminders, emphasizing the value and addressing the objections, giving social proof, educational content regarding the products that they're looking for, and then you're linking back, if possible, to their pre-filled questionnaire with a magic link. So instead of pushing to the static link, which forces them to start the questionnaire again and do the whole multiple minutes process again, it's much less friction if we can develop a magic link with your developer, in which case the magic link is the link that you use in the email, and when they press that, they're going to end up back to the questionnaire exactly on the same spot where they left off from, so they don't need to start it all over again. And this has a huge impact on the conversions. And then of course, optionally, you can offer small incentives in this flow at the end of the flow. You don't want to do it at the start, but at the end of the flow, if these people still haven't converted, you might want to offer some kind of monetary incentive for them to, get started on their treatment. And then let me show you an example of this first. So here's a good example of the questionnaire abandonment flow. We do also design versions of this, but in this case, here's an example from one of our clients where we do like this personal plain text FAQ email, basically saying like, hey, it's first name from brand name. I'm reaching out regarding the NAD questionnaire you were filling earlier. If you've already completed your questionnaire and started your treatment, thank you. If not, I'm here to assist in any way. Then we link back to the unique recovery link, which takes them back to the pre-filled questionnaire. And then after that, we push them to give us replies if they have some questions from us. And then we have like the key FAQs taken from our site. Like, how does the process work? What is the most affordable way to pay? What pharmacy do you use? How long does the process take? Etc., etc. So we're just answering all of the common objections with this FAQ kind of personal email. And this usually performs super well because people, they need to fully trust you in telehealth, even more so than in regular like low ticket e-commerce. So having this kind of personal reach out from one of the people in your team basically makes them trust you much more, and also it handles their objections. And then after that, either they go to pay or they just send us a reply on this email. We have a conversation with them, or their support team has a conversation with the customer, and then they actually end up buying. All right, number 3 of the key flows is post-purchase onboarding flow. And this flow basically triggers after the first order has been completed. The goal is to educate the new customer on how can they get the best results from the treatment, include some tips, guides, FAQs, appointment reminders, milestone check-ins, and then highlighting patient success stories as inspiration for these new customers. Like, this is possible, this is what other people are achieving, so you can also kind of become accountable and have some accountability partners in the community to make the most out of your journey. And this is pretty much the longest and most important flow for retention in this telehealth automation setup. And sometimes we actually build this to be super long, go on for months with these regular automated customer support check-ins, offering proactive help and helping these people stay satisfied, stay up to date with their journey, just stay motivated and keep the progress going. So for example, let's say at the end of the first month we send them like a reminder that, hey, we're just checking in, like, how's it going right now? Your next order is about to ship soon. Like, do you have any questions? Do you have any concerns? Is everything going well? And like reminder that, next 5 days you need to book your mandatory health check-in, like a monthly health check-in with the doctor to keep going with your treatment. And just like offering all of the information they need, offering them help, offering them support, and checking in every once in a while. That's like really important, and that's usually built into the post-purchase flow for the first 3 months at least on the journey. So people feel really supported and feel like we're on top of things and we're communicating everything to them, or the brand that they're buying from is. All right, and here's an example of one of the post-purchase emails, again from Effecti. Sorry, this is a little bit small, I can't zoom more, but basically it says, let's set you up for success, minimize side effects with consistent routine. And then there's links to download these tracking weight loss tracking charts and all these kind of things, and time tracking charts as well. And then there's like a healthy recipe for GLP-1 patients, like this is what you should eat on a GLP-1. And then there's the whole recipe, ingredients, steps, how to prepare it, and so on. So just giving them value, offering them the resources and things that actually make their lives easier on the treatment. Flow number 4 in this essential flow setup is upsell and cross-sell flows. And these are basically triggered based on time active on treatment or predicted analytics. For example, if somebody has been active on a GLP-1 treatment for X amount of months or X amount of days, you can then trigger this flow and recommend some complementary treatments for the current active treatment. Sometimes we do it in a way that we have like these advertorial kind of pages where we explain like for GLP-1 customers, like these are the complementary treatment that you can use to make your journey even smoother and boost it even further. Like NAD, for example, is a good cross-sell from GLP-1 customers into NAD treatment as well. So, in these flows we can have some personalized reasoning, like you've been on your GLP-1 treatment for X days now. Check out this guide on boosting your weight loss with NAD, for example. And yeah, here's the same example. Cross-sell NAD plus for GLP-1 patients for boosted energy, etc. And there's much other, depending on your product suite, like what kind of products do you sell on your site, what kind of treatments you sell, you can get creative with these and have different kind of cross-sell flows. Like for many clients, we have like 10 different cross-sell flows. Flow number 5, cancel treatment win-back flow. So this basically triggers when a subscription or treatment is cancelled. It sends educational content, reminders of benefits, or special re-engagement offers. And then you can also include survey to collect reason for their cancellation, then personalize the follow-up win-back emails for the specific cancellation reason of that person. So let's say they cancel, you're asking them, why did you cancel? Based on price, or did you find a better alternative, or you didn't get results, or whatever reason it is. And then based on those, you can send a different kind of objection handling email as the next email in this sequence, handling that specific objection of that customer. So if the reason was price, maybe we give like some kind of one-time offer for them to get back to the journey. Or if the reason was they found an alternative, then we handle the objection in a different way, and so on. And here's an example of this email again. Like a plain text one usually works pretty well here. So I've made this unidentifiable, but this is from one of our clients as well. We know it's been a minute, life gets busy, motivation comes and goes, but we haven't gone anywhere. When you chose brand name, you trusted us with your health, etc., etc. To make restarting easier, we're offering you $30 off your next treatment. Just use code at checkout, valid for the next 3 days. No pressure. If you're ready, we're here. With gratitude. And then we have the founders' names as signatures, or like signing off the email here, so it feels more personal for the customer. All right, and then flow number 6, not like a revenue driving flow, but really important for the deliverability, so your emails don't end up landing in the spam folder. Sunset flow. So you trigger this flow basically for unengaged subscribers, where you attempt one last engagement with value-focused content. And if they don't engage even in that email, you're just going to suppress them from regular sends to protect deliverability. And here's an example. Hey love, first name here from brand name. We noticed you haven't been opening our emails lately. Here's more and more copy, and then if you still like to be part of the brand name circle where we share your content pillars, so like our whatever you share on your list normally, just tap below and we'll keep you with us. And then they press here, and if they don't press this email, then we wait like a week or so, and then we just clean those profiles away from the list, so we can keep the list optimized for size. We don't need to pay for unnecessary profiles. And also we're just sending for the people who actually want to receive the emails to maintain high deliverability score. Then let's go to the extra flows. So these ones were the 6 essential email flows for telehealth brands that generate like 80% of the results and revenue. But then the extra flows you might want to have in place. There's site abandonment, for example. If you have a lot of different product categories, you might want to have a site abandonment flow for those people who land on your site but don't browse any specific categories of your products yet. And then you can just, give them this kind of email where you direct them towards their preferred treatment categories with relevant content or guides. And this is a super nice example we've done for Effective that performed really well. Meet your perfect match. Choosing the right treatment doesn't have to be hard, blah, blah, blah. Find yours. And then after that, we have what's your main health goal? And we have like this playful flow chart explaining different kind of treatments based on what they're looking for. Like looking for powerful metabolic support, go for tirzepatide. Need an energy and longevity boost, go with NAD+. and then there's blah blah blah, like other treatments at the bottom here. Then browse abandonment flow, like a little bit more bottom of funnel from this same style of like abandonment flows. So browse abandonment flow is reminding people who viewed a specific treatment page to then go back to that page and start their questionnaire. And then this one is really interesting one. This is super high performing one for our like subscription clients, even on Shopify, but it's also worked really well for telehealth, because telehealth is basically like mostly subscription products as well. So this flow is basically like made to celebrate the anniversaries, recurring orders, treatment outcomes, or subscription milestones with personalized messages. And then you can build this whole milestone map where basically you're offering different kind of gifts and perks for staying on the treatment for X amount of time. For example, if you look at your cohort retention data and notice that your biggest drop-off point in retention is between second and third month, you can implement a milestone reward for customers who stay for 3 months and tease about it every month leading up to that. Like, hey, 1 more month to go and you're getting this mystery gift or gift or something. And then this way you can incentivize these people to stay on their treatment for longer. So it's just like a nice, playful, psychological trick to get people to stay on the treatment for longer, which is of course also good for them because these treatments are made to help them with their life and make their life better. And here's an example. This is not a telehealth specific example, but one of our clients where we did this. Basically, we had 16 plus gifts for 12 month roadmap. So every month almost they were getting some kind of gifts when they were on a subscription journey. And then we send these emails every month like, okay, you got this gift and then there's more coming, like next month you can expect this thing and next month you can expect this thing. And then this just like teases people about what's coming next and incentivizes them to stay on the treatment for much longer. Then final piece of the email flow pillar here is transactional emails. And since the products are high priced on telehealth space, products are high priced subscription-based prescription medication, transactional messaging needs to be completely on point to make sure you never compromise on the clarity, trust, transparency, and compliance that your customers are expecting from you. And there's some of these most important transactional touch points like order confirmed, received, prescription created, order fulfilled, monthly doctor check-in, doctor send a message. There's many more of these, but these are just a few of the examples that you need to have in place as a telehealth brand. And sometimes when you have your telehealth platform, they already have like solid plain text templates for these, like order confirmed, received, prescription created. Like when you create your brand in the telehealth platform, you already have some kind of templates for these to be sending, even if you don't create anything. Kind of like in Shopify, you have the default transactional templates. But if you actually want to be super trustworthy, professional looking, which you of course do in telehealth especially, you want to make sure that these transactional emails are also up to par and up to the same standard as your marketing emails when it comes to design, when it comes to copy, when it comes to everything. Because if these come from different address and look totally different from your other marketing emails, people are just gonna look at them and like, is this a scam or something? And then they're just, gonna ignore them, mark them as spam. And then you're gonna have a lot of problems if these are not reaching customers, because the goal of these is to make their journey easier, give them information on all of the important journeys of their customer journey, or like touch points of their customer journey and so on. Now, pillar number 3, email campaigns and newsletters. So in telehealth, your audience isn't just another e-commerce shopper. So we already touched on these before in this video, but your customers in telehealth are patients, they're health conscious consumers, they're people seeking guidance, and they need trust, clarity, and expertise. And they don't need flashy sales pitches all the time. And thus the whole content strategy needs to reflect this, and the communication style needs to be personalized, supportive, and educational. And the claims you make, you need to back those up by statistics. And if you only show up when you're promoting something, you're pretty much invisible the rest of the time. And even worse, you risk coming across as pushy or transactional, which damages trust, which is of course the most important currency in telehealth. So what does this all mean for your email content strategy? Well, sending more emails doesn't mean spamming, first of all. In fact, sending more without the right approach is the fastest way to harm your deliverability and brand reputation, fatigue your subscribers, and reduce engagement and click rates. So then, what do the winning telehealth brands do in 2025? They are sending consistent, valuable communication that educates, guides, and empowers. And they're building a relationship first and then selling after that. So here's what usually works best. You are like, we see that usually you send 2 to 4 value-driven campaigns per week. Then major promotional campaigns only once every 1 to 2 months. if at all. And then you want to focus on educational, trust building, and supportive content for the majority of the time. And I'm gonna show you this Figma file right now, or in just a minute. I'm first gonna go through the pillars, but basically the main telehealth newsletter content pillars are these 8 ones that I'm just gonna go through here, and they're a little bit different from traditional D2C e-commerce, but this all comes down to the main differences between these two, niches. So pillar number 1, we want to send educational and insightful content, sharing health tips, explaining treatments, providing tutorials, or answering common questions. This is basically like building trust and positioning your brand as the expert. Pillar number 2, social proof and case studies. So you want to share patient success stories, testimonials, peer mentions, or aggregated results from treatments. And this all builds credibility and authority. Then pillar number 3, engagement and interaction. So this includes stuff like surveys, check-in emails, interactive quizzes, like type form quizzes from email, and then different kind of polls to gather third-party data and personalized experiences. Pillar number 4, treatment showcases. So basically visually showcasing your treatments with an infographic, diving into the benefits and features. Then we want to send problem, agitation, solution emails. So drilling deep into your prospects' deepest pains, agitating them, and positioning your brand treatment, or your brand and your treatments as the solution. And this is actually like probably one of the best content pillars to send in the telehealth space. These often work super well, especially for like the prospect segment. So those who have not started their treatment yet, because we just dive deep into their emotions and explain everything they need to know, hit their emotions, agitate the pain, and then explain how we can help them. And that usually works super well. Now, pillar number 6, simple emails. I'm going to show you examples soon, but this is like super short and straight to the point emails that just remind of your brand value proposition with nothing more than a headline, hero image, and 1-sentence copy and the CTA. And these are like these professional looking kind of like healthcare, big enterprise healthcare brand emails that you want to be sending in telehealth, and these usually work super well as well. Pillar number 7, re-engagement. So winning back lapsed patients or subscribers with informative nudges and incentives. So basically like win back flow, but as a campaign format, like sending to those people who haven't been active on a treatment in the past couple of months, for example. Then VIP and active patient emails, which are to celebrate loyal patients with updates, share exclusive resources, reminders for next steps, some kind of milestone emails, kind of like the milestone flow that I shared before, or just educational content tailored to this segment of people, of your most loyal customers. And then pillar number 9, promotions and offers. So this is basically like the extra pillar here. After you focus most of the time in all of the other pillars and the value driving emails, the final pillar, you might send these promotions like once every 1 to 2 months or so. With exclusive consultations or webinars, bundle treatments, new treatment announcements, or occasional sales. And there's so many ways you can do this. It doesn't have to be like an average like discount code that you would give as an e-commerce brand. And overall, these promotions land way harder when your audience has already been nurtured and primed with trust and education. So now let's go into the Figma file to show you these like examples of each of these 9 content pillars here. So let me dive into the doc. So here you can see, first of all, the educational content pillar. So I have 2 examples here from our clients. First of all, like let's get you on track. Let's lock in your best results from the start. So this is basically like for customers who are active on the treatments, explaining, like educating how can you maximize your first weeks on GLP-1s. There's the tips, and then get to your patient portal. And then there's a recipe for them to try. So yeah, this is an example. And then another one example, good habits for great energy. So basically, 3 energy habits that work. Start with NAD+, so kind of like product placement here. And then the other 2 are just like value, like insightful tips that we give to the audience. Hydrate right away, set your 3 wins. And then we have a secondary CTA here to push to our IVRX app, where we can then, help them get on track more easily, track their macros, track their health habits and everything like that. So this is just like a value driving email. Alright, pillar number 2, social proof. There's another 2 examples, one from Ivy, so like before afters, these often work super well, especially in the weight loss space. So here's like a before after email, and then here's one for Hims, which is another huge brand in the telehealth space. Results beyond scale, and then there's a couple of before afters from their customers, and then like a quote from each of these customers, like what have they achieved, and then their own quote, like how do they feel, and everything like that. Then the next pillar, engagement and interaction. So here's 3 examples as well. The first example, like a super plain email where you basically push like learn about the challenges women face with weight loss and how to navigate them. So this is like Reddit AMA, like ask me anything session, just email notifying about that, and submit your questions here and so on. So this is just like kind of like community building engagement email, getting interaction from your customers and getting them to join this AMA session. Another example, like a more playful one, messages from future you. This is often also working super well in telehealth. Like playful email coming from the future you, basically from the customer's point of view, like, hey, you committed to the treatment and then this is what your life looks like right now, like painting them the dream outcome picture, and then here's how life feels right now. Small shifts, big wins. Thank you, future you. And then, just pushing people to the treatments. Then third example here, like HIMSS email again, free calorie deficit calculator. So like an interactive email, you can press here and then you can go to the calculator and use that yourself. So just generating engagement with this kind of interactive content. Treatment showcases. So the next pillar, 2 examples quickly. There's one like showcasing NAD Plus for IVRX, explaining what it does, and then, some cross sells at the bottom and complementary treatments, and then like a final social proof. And then Effect, the example, NAD Spotlight as well, a little bit different, just the product here, and then explaining the benefits, and then pick your preferred form, injectable or nasal spray. Then the other pillars, just going through these quickly. Simple emails, these were the ones that I mentioned many telehealth brands send, so just like really simple. I think I actually am missing something from here. There should be like a banner, but anyways, like really simple email of like hero email, like hero headline section, 1 sentence copy, CTA, and then this section at the bottom, or not even that. So let's look at the 2 other examples. There's pretty much nothing more than just the headline, 1 sentence copy, and then the CTA, and then the hero image. And same thing for hers. Weight loss that fits your needs. Lose an average of 15 will be like pounds in the first 6 months, and then this is like data from their customers, and then CTA. So really simple emails, just like 1 quote in the email or something, 1 sentence, and that's the whole email basically. Then problem, agitation, solution. Gave 1 really good example from Freya, one client of ours. So the weight, it wasn't your fault. Then here's like a before after image, CTAs, and then explaining like, okay, what is the problem, agitating the problem for them, and then, kind of like justifying the problem because of that and normalizing it. And then after that, explaining why, our brand, our solution is actually the one that solves your problem. And then a little bit deeper, showing the products, another CTA, and then some social proof to kind of back up the claims that we made in the email. So this is like a super good angle in telehealth. Then VIP active patient emails. There's one that is collecting, Trustpilot reviews. There's another one which is like survey email for existing customers to collect some feedback from them, and offering them like a $20 gift card as a reward for completing the survey. Then there's promotional pillar as the final one, like second to final one. So there's a couple of good examples. This is like a design version that we've done for one of our clients. Save this amount on GLP-1 bundles, use code, and then you have the bundles linked here as the CTAs, and then just like a simple promotional email. And then this other version is like a plain text version, and this is probably the highest converting angle of all of our promotions. Credit added, so like made like this is an automated email explaining that, hey, credit to account this much, this is your last chance to use this, it expires tonight, claim your credit right now using this unique code. And these usually work really well. And then the final pillar, re-engagement. Here's an example of that. So, hey, first name, we noticed you've taken a step back from your journey and we'd love to hear why. And then just asking responses from the lapsed customers, trying to understand why did they cancel, why are they not coming back, and then we can potentially like have a conversation with them, the support team, and can discuss with them, help them. And then sometimes they come back, sometimes they don't, but we still get valuable insights from them, and then we can utilize that to make sure that other people don't leave. So that's pretty much all of the key content pillars here. And then common mistakes and pro tips. There are still a couple of mistakes I see all the time that cost these telehealth brands thousands every day. So number 1, failing to segment active customers versus prospects. Why this is a problem? Because most of our telehealth customers are on a recurring subscription, and if you're sending an email about a one-time sale with the purpose of closing more business, you don't want these people who are already active to receive this promo, because then you're just kind of like giving your margin away for no reason. So what to do? Segment out your active subscribers so you won't throw away your margins for no reason, like I just said. And then number 2 of the main problems I see, only catering to one part of the funnel. So, many telehealth brands are selling multiple treatment categories, GLP-1s, longevity treatments, peptides, etc. And some of your email subscribers are already active customers. Some are still on the fence about getting started, etc. So what to do? You want to be sending this empowering content to increase retention among active patients, and then you want to be sending trust building and educational content to get new prospects to convert, and then you also want to be sending content about these different treatment categories to cater to all ICPs and cross-sell to existing patients. So send emails about GLP-1s, send emails about longevity treatments, send emails about peptides, and then if somebody is like on a GLP-1 treatment, you can still send them an email about the longevity collection to cross-sell to that one if they are like treatments that actually complement each other, like NAD and GLP-1, for example. And then mistake number 3, only having CTA buttons to the questionnaire or to the product page. And this is a really unique one for telehealth, because the best practice you usually hear in email marketing is to only have one CTA per email. And in telehealth, this is often less ideal. I'm gonna give you an example. So let's say you send a GLP-1 showcase email to your GLP-1 prospects. If you only have a CTA to the questionnaire, you're optimizing for the people with the highest intent who already know exactly what GLP-1s are. But then, the problem is that if you don't have all of your customers, not all of your prospects already know what the treatment is or what it does or so on. So if you're just pushing to the health questionnaire, then they land there and then they don't even know what they're like shopping for. So they don't want to be on the questionnaire. They would actually want to land at the product page and get educated first. But then vice versa is also a problem. Like if you only have CTA to the product page, then you're optimizing for lower intent prospects who need to read more about the treatment before making a buying decision. And then you're just like, there's more friction for those people who just have wanted to go straight to the questionnaire if you're now pushing them to the product page for no reason. So what is the solution here? It's to have 2 CTAs, one to the questionnaire and then the other one to the product page in most of your emails, and have these next to each other like this. So get started CTA is linked to the questionnaire for the highest intent prospects, and then learn more CTA is linked to the product page for those who still need to learn more about the product. And here's an example. Compounded close to the home, then the description copy, and then get started and learn more buttons next to each other. Alright, so then finally, these resources I have collected here will be of huge help for you, no matter if you're a telehealth brand or a traditional e-commerce business. Some of the examples given are made for Shopify brands and some are for telehealth businesses. So this is really good insights for you and information and resources about how to optimize your email campaigns and newsletters and the calendar for those. Now, pillar number 4, complementary retention channels. Email as a channel is great. It's inexpensive, has a huge reach, ROI, and it allows you to share slightly longer form informational value for your audience. However, it's not all encompassing. For example, it's not the best channel for fast conversational communication. Urgent messaging is often better received via other channels like SMS or WhatsApp. Also, different individuals have different preferences. Somebody reads emails, somebody reads SMS, somebody prefers push notifications, etc. And another thing, engagement from an average email subscriber usually drops drastically after 30 to 90 days since they signed up. And therefore, once somebody joins your email list, you would ideally do everything in your power to also get these people into your other own channels to make sure you're not limited to email only. Because omnichannel is the way to go, and it's becoming more and more powerful and seamless with today's technology and platforms, like Klaviyo, basically, where you can just manage all or even most of these channels in one place. So below are some of the other retention channels we recommend leveraging as part of a comprehensive retention setup for telehealth especially. Number 1, SMS, and if possible, conversational. So with SMS marketing, the traditional strategy mimics email marketing, but with lower frequency. So it means that you create mainly the same flows, but only like 1 or 2 SMS per flow. Then you have transactional SMS messaging for order and subscription tracking. And then you will maybe send like 1 to 4 SMS campaigns max per month to complement email during the important announcements or urgent promotions. So you can send like 4 hours left in the sale, or you can send some kind of important like price change or something like announcement like this with SMS. However, what we've actually seen firsthand work extremely well for telehealth business is conversational SMS. And what this means, basically it means that instead of regular welcome, abandonment, cross-sell SMS, you're going to be reaching out with personal messages signed as first name from brand name, asking for responses. And then these responses will then be directed to the internal support inbox, where the team then picks up these conversations and guides the leads to purchase. And if your team has the capacity to handle these conversations, the ROI here is simply huge, and the conversion rates are significantly higher than with one-way SMS. Like, you can double, triple the conversion rates easily with this. Here's an example from one of our clients. They are using this way, the conversational SMS, for abandonment flows. So whenever somebody abandons the questionnaire, they're reaching out with a personalized conversation starter, and they're asking those people to respond to their SMS, and then they're having a conversation with them, giving them all the answers they need, and then eventually pushing them to convert. And here's the results. Like, we're getting super high conversion rates here, but also just like the qualitative results of like responses from people are super nice, and I'm going to show that here because I can't really show the full data for you. Like, these are the kind of emails you're getting. Thanks for all the help. It makes things a lot easier when there's a real person to ask questions to. Okay, I signed up. Thank you for answering all my questions. And then the name, I just blurred it here. You rock. And just people are super happy for actually getting personalized help. And this is exactly what you're looking for as a telehealth brand. You want your support to be like the factor that builds trust with your customers and eventually, grows your brand through that. Other complementary channels on top of SMS, for example, WhatsApp marketing, that's one piece that can be really, really good. Then, of course, social media. You want to keep people coming to your social medias, Instagram, Facebook, and so on, just so you can build the audience there as well, and go fully omnichannel. Then if you have like an in-app, or if you have like your own app, for example, IVRX has one. You also want to do like push notifications, in-app notifications, stuff like that. Potential like AI-driven conversational messaging is also something that can help you reduce the workload of like this manual conversational communication. But yeah, in one way or another, conversational messaging is super good here. And then offline direct mail communication is also something you can do. If, for example, people are not engaged anymore with your emails or SMS, you can send like a postcard to them with a specific offer, and that's usually like a super good way because people are definitely gonna see that. That's not gonna get like that's not gonna go into like spam inbox or something like email would potentially go, or it's people are just gonna see this, so it's like a Hail Mary kind of offer that you can do if the other channels are unengaged for that person. All right, then final pillar number 5 is backend setup. And the foundational parts of email marketing are basically technical setup of the email service provider, then list segmentation, and then deliverability. And these are almost the same in all industries because email as a channel stays the same no matter the business that is doing the email marketing. The difference in telehealth comes down to the fact that the overall tech stack and integrations that are needed to make the data flow in real time and to the right places securely, safely and efficiently. Now, pillar number 5, the final pillar, is the backend setup. And the foundational parts of email marketing, so technical setup of the email service provider, list segmentation, deliverability, these are almost the same in all industries because the email as a channel stays the same no matter the business that is running the email marketing, of course. The difference in telehealth comes from the overall tech stack and integrations needed to make the data flow in real time and to right places safely, securely, and efficiently. And here I can show you an example what I mean. So let's say an average e-commerce tech stack. This is really, this doesn't contain everything, but let's say the CMS is Shopify, the email service provider is Klaviyo, and then they might have some other third-party tools in this setup, especially from like email marketer's perspective. Then for telehealth, the tech stack is much more complicated. So even as an email marketing person who is running the email marketing or SMS or whatever, you need to consider many more elements and many more pieces in the tech stack puzzle. So there's custom website usually like made with Webflow or Framer or something. Then you have a telehealth platform like Busk, for example. That is the platform where you have your patient data, you have your order management, notification email, stuff like that. Then you have the email service provider. Usually in telehealth, we use Customer.io or Omnisend. Then list growth tool separately, like let's say you have like Wisepops or Opt-in Monster, because Customer.io, for example, doesn't have their own pop-up tool. So if you want to build those pop-ups, you cannot build them internally. So you need to have like an external pop-up tool, which is then integrated into your website and into your email service provider with custom integration. Then you might have like a CDP, customer, like there's different versions of these, like segment.com, for example, from Twilio is something that allows you to enrich the customer data, personalize the data, get some predictive analytics into customer.io, for example. And then you might have these other third-party tools kind of like here as well. So there's many more moving pieces. And since the tech stack here for telehealth is much more complex, there's also a lack of no-code native integrations between these platforms being used, which means a level of custom coding and developing work is pretty much always needed for successful email marketing and just marketing and data tracking in general. Oftentimes, marketers need to work together with developers in this telehealth brand's context to find ways to build flows, trigger events, identify segments, send newsletters to specific people, and so on. Because you don't have like these no-code integrations that work perfectly, like between Shopify and Klaviyo, for example. And a couple of examples. How to trigger an event when somebody completes the health questionnaire on your website. This is something you need to figure out with the developers. So of course this is required so you can send the questionnaire abandonment flow. Then let's say how to trigger an event when someone views a product page. With Shopify you also have like a browse product and you can launch the Shopify's browse abandonment flow with Klaviyo. But here you just need to do this on a custom way as well. Build a custom event into the platform, and then you can potentially build a browse abandonment flow accordingly. Also, like how to identify patients based on their subscription status, like are they active subscriber on the treatment or are they cancelled or whatever. This is also required for proper campaign inclusion and exclusions. So maybe you want to include your customers in this campaign, maybe you want to exclude the active customers from this other one. You just need to have this data flowing into the email service provider so you can actually do this accurately and avoid any kind of customer support headaches. So all of these things are something you need to figure out, and there's not like a no-code way to do it in most cases. So you need to work together with a developer to make sure that all of this data is flowing correctly, and email marketing and reporting and also other marketing channels can work work as you need them to work. And then, as a Shopify brand using Klaviyo, these types of events are almost always easily available with their native integration. But as a telehealth brand, you just need to develop many of these yourself, ensuring all these platforms communicate together in real time without issues. Website visitors are being tracked in your email service provider. The pop-up tool is integrated to both website and your email service provider. Your telehealth software is integrated to both the website and your email service provider as well. And then, the CDP like segment.com is feeding data to your email service provider. So you can build segments and build flows and everything based on that, etc. So to make all these work in unison is a tedious task, but if done right, the possibilities are endless. So that was the email and SMS marketing blueprint for telehealth brands. Now, perfecting these strategies has taken us years, and if you want to learn and implement them yourself, you'll first need to master the basics of email marketing. And that's why I've made the only email marketing video you'll ever need, so you can skip the trial and error and jump straight into what's been proven to work. Click the video on the screen right now to watch it, and I'll see you in the next one.